and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017.
Trading stocks is a high level of risk, and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice. Not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here. Hope you had a great weekend. It's the beginning of another interesting week in the markets. The Fed is meeting today, Tuesday and Wednesday. I believe it's the last time for the summer that they actually meet. So they may provide some verbiage and guidance on interest rates. I'm sure the market will be paying attention to that. But with that, let's get into today's video. We always start off with a look at the Russell Index. We want to make sure that before we put any new names forward for our watch list, we're putting them forward in a rising market environment, and for that we use the Russell Index as our proxy. Specifically the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000. We step back to take a look at it on the bigger time frame, the 5-year monthly. This blue line down here illustrates our more longer term area of support and resistance. We had that breakthrough last November. We've been keeping an eye, though, on this area here, this wedge pattern that's been shaping up on the monthly chart. We noted the candle for the month of May was red, but June canceled that out. And here we are so far for the month of July, really up in that upper range. Perhaps we'll get a breakout finally of this big, long sideways pattern and a move up and over our black trend line. We will see. As I film this, it's about 8:20 on Tuesday morning. The futures are looking to get a pretty green, healthy start, so maybe we are moving into that zone of moving up and out of our wedge. We will see. I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 1-year weekly. We always like to check the weekly chart. So we had a series of dojis in a row several weeks ago, then the bullish candle that pushed us a little higher. Last week's candle, which had a little bit of a wick, and so far here is the candle for this week. Note that we are up and over that 8-day EMA. We're coming up to that same black line that offered resistance back here in February and here in April. So we're going to be keeping a close eye as it gets up to that black trend line. I'm going to move away from the weekly to the 6-month daily. I'm going to put a little trend line in here. This is what I'll be watching, is to see if price, it's going to open higher, but I want to see that it holds up above this trend line here as we approach that upper band. But with price on the Russell showing strength and trading up and over the blue line, which is our 8-day EMA, we use this blue line as our guide. When price is up and over the blue on the Russell, we're adding new names to our watch list, so we're going to add a new name this morning. And the new name we're adding to our watch list this morning is Starbuck Corporation, ticker symbol SBUX on the NASDAQ exchange. Before I get into the chart, let me tell you a little bit more about the company. Starbucks, I'm sure a lot of us are very familiar with it, was incorporated in 1985. They are a roaster, marketer, and retailer of specialty coffee. They operate in more than 50 countries around the world. I'm not sure how many outlets they have, but it is a ton. You know, at Chart of the Day Cafe, it is all about two things, value and growth. And Starbucks has a nice value score, along with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 13%. Third thing I look for, it's not a must like value and growth, but in this case it is there, is a dividend yield. The current dividend yield for Starbucks is 1.72%, and it's got a PE of 25.34. So with that, let's get into the chart. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart. You can see on the 5-year monthly overall uptrend. Having said that, it's been trading sideways really for about a year and a half. But I like the way it's settled into this area that may offer some support. We will see. But overall on the 5-year looks pretty good. Going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 2-year weekly. There's that same orange line of support resistance. You can see it's been kind of wonking around that line, but I like the way it consolidated here. Again, we're looking at the weekly chart, so a lot of consolidation here. A move up and over, and it's sitting at that area that may offer support here again. We will see. Going to move it away from the weekly to the 6-month daily. I want to let you know that Starbucks has earnings coming up in a couple of days on July 27th. I don't like to get involved in things before earnings, but I will be keeping an eye on this one when earnings are reported, but I want to have it on my watch list for sure. You know what, Chart of the Day Cafe, it's all about this blue 8-day EMA. We are interested when price moves up and over the blue. We're not interested when it trades below. So everyone has their own way of doing things, their own trading plan. Perhaps you are okay with Starbucks before earnings, but I am going to wait. But I just want to have it on my watch list and be paying attention to this stock for sure in the days ahead. So Starbucks sitting in an interesting area, keeping an eye. Along with our new watch list pick, we also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and for that we're looking at XLY, which is the ETF for the consumer discretionary sector. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart. You can see on the 5-year monthly overall uptrend, kind of like Starbucks though, it consolidated for about a year here, but it's got that lift, keeping an eye in this area. Again, we're looking at the 5-year monthly, but I like the look of this sector as well. Going to move it away from the monthly to the daily. You can see that price on the consumer discretionary ETF is up and over that blue and perhaps going to continue that trend higher here. We will see, but we want to note that the sector overall is looking good. Second thing we look for is seasonality. And for that, we go to equityclock.com, really great site. I always like to look at seasonal tendencies for my watch list picks, if I can find it. And you can see that this is the Starbucks Corporation seasonal chart. July dips a little bit, but in August, the end of August, it starts to pick up and it has a beautiful seasonal trend through the back half of the year. No guarantee that happens again this year, but always good to know. I also like to go to FinViz and see if I've got analyst support for my watch list pick, and you can see that recently Starbucks has had some favorable coverage by analysts with hold to buy, overweight, good to see. I also like to include, if you want to go yourself on FinViz, you can go down to the bottom here and look at some of the articles that are included. A lot of them are pretty favorable. I am going to include one of them. See if I can find it. It's 3 great dividend stocks. Whoops, it easy. Let me see if I can get to the title. Sorry about that. Get it in my screen. There we go. 3 great dividend stocks that could double their payments. So Starbucks initiated a dividend payment in 2010, and they've been increasing their dividend every year since then. So it bodes well for perhaps a dividend increase this year. We will see. Also, I know Kramer is a Starbucks fan. I am going to include this little video that I found on the web. He talks about Starbucks and how he would be a buyer of Starbucks if it hits $58, which it's currently at as we put this video together. And with good earnings coming in, he says that perhaps it could hit 70. So I will include a link to this video as well. So to summarize, let's go back and check our boxes for Starbucks. We started today's video with a look at the Russell Index. We note that the Russell is showing price strength, with price currently up and over that 8-day EMA on the daily chart. We looked at the sector that Starbucks is in, XLY, which is the ETF for the consumer discretionary space. It's got a nice 5-year chart. We looked at the 5-year chart for Starbucks itself, and we noted that in 2016 it kind of consolidated for a while, then it moved up and over our area of support resistance and is currently sitting right at that area of support. May possibly lift from here, we will see. Starbucks has a good value score and a good growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 13%. It's got a current dividend yield of 1.72%, so we check that box. We do not have this box checked because price has not moved up and over that 8-day EMA, which is what we look for. It's got seasonality coming into play soon. It's got analyst support. It's got a current PE of 25.34 and earnings coming up this week in a couple of days. As a reminder, these videos go out every Tuesday and Thursday morning prior to 9:30 a.m. If you like receiving them, please subscribe to our channel by hitting the red subscribe button on our YouTube homepage. That way you get these videos right away. Thank you for your patience. I was away last Thursday, but happy to resume our videos today with Starbucks. Keep an eye on it, and thank you for watching.